Hello and welcome back to the Crypto Saving Expert News Show, where we keep you up to date with the latest cryptocurrency news and look at the markets to see what is happening, keeping us all up to date every single day, Monday to Friday. And today we are joined by that Martini guy, the founder of Crypto Saving Expert.
Hello.
So today we're going to go through the latest news from Crypto Saving Expert, and we're going to take a look at the price charts as well. So Bitcoin is currently at $16,840, and Ethereum is at $1,220. And I was just taking a look at this at the 24-hour percentage changes, and they are so small for the whole of the top 10. It's shocking how much we haven't really seen much movement in the prices over the last couple of days. But we'll take a look at the Bitcoin price chart, and the same again, really. I was looking at the 1 hour chart here, and on the MACD and the RSI, they have both been so neutral for so long. So what do you think of the markets, Jordan?
I think it's been incredibly boring this week. Volumes are down significantly this week. Of course, going into Christmas, it's always the case whereby everything just slows down. You have massive trading companies, all of their staff go off on holiday for Christmas. You have this entire period between Christmas and New Year generally with a, a decrease in volume, which then makes it very susceptible to bark candles. So what I'm expecting at some point in the next few days is a big move in one direction. Don't know which direction that is. We really have no idea from the markets. The market's not really giving any clues because every single time frame conflicts itself. So you have some things that look incredibly bullish, some things look very bearish, but for the most part, it all looks very flat. And when you have a significant decrease in volume, it means you have less money on the order books, less things locking in the prices of Bitcoin. And for that reason, it means that it becomes more susceptible to manipulation during kind of periods of time like this.
Yeah, that is the same sort of conclusion that we've been talking about here on these live streams. But I have just realized I didn't even have the charts up when I was talking about that. So that was pretty useless. But now I can show you the MACD and the RSI as well. You can see they've just been completely neutral. I'm expecting the same thing with the low volumes and not much movement over
Bring that chart
Christmas.
up on the daily so that people can see the daily. Put it on the daily. And then that's it. You should be able to see on the daily, basically, if you look at especially the MACD on the daily, we're conflicted right now. There really is nothing. We're going to move to one side pretty soon, but is it bullish? Is it bearish? It's kind of hard to decide that, being that we do have a kind of bullish divergence on the RSI. But at the same time, you also have hidden bearish divergences on the RSI, even on the daily time frame as well. So it just becomes very difficult. And one side's going to pop. And when it pops, basically the way that I'm trading this is I'm going to long if we break above a certain level and short if we break below a certain level. That certain level for shorting would be below 16,500. And for me to go long right now, I'm really looking at anything above 17K, because I think if we break 17K, we go up towards 18, 19. And then if you go above 20, then there is a huge liquidity lock at about 19,000 to 21,000. But if we were to surpass that, then it goes up pretty quickly after that, because there isn't a whole lot of trading activity previously conducted in that range. It's like even on the way down, Bitcoin crushed between 29,000 and 20,000, took maybe like 4 or 5 hours or something on the way down. It was a really sharp drop. And so that means that it's quite likely that at some point in time in the near term future, we probably do fill in that gap a little bit, because these liquidity gaps are things that people do trade. So yeah, that's my thoughts on what's going on there.
Yeah, I've also been thinking about the markets at the moment. Obviously, it's the festive time, so I don't expect too much right now. But it does also feel like we're at a pivotal point, because we've seen all these bankruptcies and we've seen this domino effect going on, where since the UST depegged back in May, and now all of the news seems to have taken a turn where repercussions are actually coming for people, and users are getting positive news about possibly getting their funds back. So it feels like we are about to see a change in the tide, hopefully, but I'm just not sure how soon it is going to be, with it being the holidays and volumes being incredibly low. But that's what we're thinking about on the markets. Let's move on to the news. So first of all, we have Elon Musk's Tesla is reportedly planning layoffs and hiring freeze in 2023. So the famous electric vehicle manufacturer Tesla is reportedly planning staff layoffs and implementing a hiring freeze. Moving on down here, according to a report by Electric, citing people familiar with the matter, Elon Musk gave different reasons for the layoffs to different people. The report adds that Elon Musk simply has a very bad feeling about the economy. And Jordan, I haven't spoke to you about this. What do you think about him stepping down from Twitter?
think it's a good thing. I really think that when it comes to what's been happening with Tesla recently, Tesla is down about 85% this year in terms of its stock value, and Elon still remains the richest person on earth, or one of, which is quite incredible, really, considering that you can have an 85% loss on your net worth and still be up so good. It's very interesting. I think it's a good thing though, because Twitter ultimately cost him 44 billion, but Tesla's market cap is more than that. Tesla is a more valuable company. Tesla is offering more to the world. But I do think that if you look at Tesla's development over the course of the past year, Elon took his eye off the ball. He's been focusing on other things. He's been tweeting a lot, talking a lot on Twitter. And he, even though if he will step down, as you'll see in this article a little bit lower down, even if he does step down, he's moving into more of a technology role at Twitter. I don't fully understand what the plan is with Tesla, though, because before it was quite cool with Tesla and the Boring Company and everything like that that he was doing. It was quite exciting. And I think to some extent, the more that people tweet and the more that you hear from them, the less you start to like them and the more you start to hate them because you hear of them too frequently, I guess. And I think that Twitter perhaps has done to some extent, it's increased everybody's knowledge about Elon, but has it increased public's perception of Elon? No, probably not. I think overall he's kind of alienated a lot of his original followers. And if you look at Elon's subreddit, Elon's subreddit is not particularly in favor of Elon right now. So it's been an interesting period for the guy. I think it's overall a good thing though, and I really hope he starts focusing on Tesla again because Tesla is really the cash cow here, and Twitter is just his play. Like Jeff Bezos, I don't know if anybody knows this, but he owns massive newspapers. The reason why billionaires buy newspapers is so they can control the narrative. Elon bought Twitter so he can control the narrative, but it's much more difficult to control the narrative when you give everybody freedom of speech. So it's been, a little bit conflicting for the guy. He never actually wanted to buy Twitter anyway, did he? He tried to back out of it and then they sued him, so he had to buy it. So yeah, I
Well,
think
this was the thing. I was looking at the way that he stepped down from Twitter. Seems to me that he wanted to step down, but he didn't want to ruin his reputation. So he's tried to do it through a poll where it keeps up the reputation that he's built of this
yeah,
big.
it makes sense because why would you? You're a billionaire. You really don't need the hassle of being CEO of Twitter and getting all of this hate and not really. Well, look at the cost benefit analysis of it. How much money is Elon making extra from being CEO of Twitter? He's not making any extra money. He's kind of doing it. It doesn't matter to him anyway if he's getting more money or not. He's doing things because he likes to do them, I guess. So why not focus on the rockets? Why not focus on the cars? Why focus on this
Mm.
website where people just argue at each other all the time? It's yeah, Twitter's become an interesting place. I really hope it doesn't become like Facebook. That's I guess my concern for Twitter, whereby Facebook alienates its audience. Facebook really kind of died off after what was it that's voting scandal after the previous elections, whereby they were advertising. I can't remember. It wasn't AstraZeneca. That's a thing, isn't it? What was it called now? Can you remember what it was called? That company
Yeah.
that they had that was advertising very heavily, like polls and stuff that was influencing elections. I hope Twitter doesn't become that way because that would be such a shame for everybody that's worked so long to build up on Twitter and then it just gets destroyed by some kind of scandal. But
Mm.
yeah, I think focus on Tesla, Elon.
Yeah, I agree. Let's continue with this article a little bit. So Tesla has reportedly communicated to some employees. Tesla has been growing rapidly over the years, and such expansion usually leads to hiring inefficiencies that end up with rounds of layoffs. But the planned hiring freeze might be a concern given that Tesla needs additional staffing for its new gigafactories in the United States and Germany. The report added that the electric vehicle manufacturing company has already started communicating with some employees regarding the changes scheduled for next year. And then further in this article, we've covered this already of Elon Musk stepping down from Twitter CEO. Let's take a look at the next article. We've had two really interesting articles today. The peer-to-peer crypto exchange Paxful officially delists Ethereum. Now, this is because the CEO, Yusuf, does not believe in Ethereum since its merge onto proof of stake. So recall that Ethereum's completed its long-awaited merge on September the 15th, and since the upgrade, the network has received several backlashes and criticism. Critics argue that the transition will make the network less decentralized and could open it to new attacks. Yusuf is one of those who believe Ethereum has become less decentralized. He also noted that investors may eventually need permission to use the network. Although the CEO admitted that ETH has some utility in real use cases, such as credit and lending, he noted that the network thrives because of its tokenization model. And he said, in short, our industry is under attack right now, which means our responsibility to protect our users is greater than ever before. We are not perfect, but we'll always do the right thing, even if it's not popular and even if it costs us money. The payoff for all humanity will be so great that the billions of scammers have stolen via tokens will seem like pennies in comparison. Now, I understand that he has his own opinion on Ethereum, but I just feel like people just go to a different exchange to buy Ethereum. Ethereum is so big that having it delisted from Paxful is not going to make a huge impact, I think. What do you think?
I completely agree. It's more you're seeing right now polarization between kind of two major facts in cryptocurrency. The first one being your maximalists, and the second one is people that are not brain dead. So from my perspective, I don't really like Bitcoin maximalism as an ideology. I'm fine with Bitcoin maximalists. If you like Bitcoin more than anything else, by all means, you can have that ideology, but I just disagree with that ideology. I don't think that Bitcoin should be the only thing. Just like with Paxful like Bitcoin because Bitcoin uses mining. I don't see a reason that we need to have mining. The only reason why you have such a strong audience of people that really like mining is because you have these people that have invested billions of dollars into all of these Bitcoin mining farms, Ethereum mining farms, and they don't want their investments become worthless overnight. So of course they're going to be very, very, very anti uh, anything to do with proof of stake because it completely destroys their business model. I fully understand that, but at least be honest when it comes down to why you don't like proof of stake. Is it because you really care about security? No, it's not. You just spent loads of money on miners and now they're all worthless. So that's why people don't like proof of stake on the whole. Why don't people like mining? Well, look at why the bull run ended. The key reason why the bull run ended, we already spoke about the guy once, but the bull run ended because Elon started tweeting about, oh, Bitcoin's bad for the environment, so I'm not going to talk about it for a while until it's good for the environment again. Bitcoin will never be good for the environment. But the way that Bitcoin is good for the environment is that it encourages people to develop green energy resources because the actual cost of mining Bitcoin with fossil fuels will only rise over time and it's completely non-sustainable. So over time, you will see a massive green technology development coming from the cryptocurrency sector, which is ultimately a very good thing. But on the whole, then you would say, well, I get this question on a regular basis, but they're developing all of this green technology. They're going to use it to mine Bitcoin, meaning that actually the green technology that they develop is useless. This is not true because essentially, if you're developing a Bitcoin mining farm, you always end up making money if you're using green technology because therefore you're kind of harvesting your energy for free, which then gives you more money to reinvest back into the grid to make more power. And then that power can start serving the grid. So it starts off. I mean, I'm looking at investing in a project right now whereby they're looking at building a Bitcoin mining farm out in Peru, I think it is. And that Peruvian Bitcoin mining farm, what they're looking at doing is they want to raise, I think it's like they've already raised 20 million. They need to raise a further 7 million. And when they've raised all of that money, they'll go out and they'll build a Bitcoin mining farm and a kind of decentralized energy network using solar panels and various other kind of green technologies. By the way, solar panels are not green. They degrade after like 30 years, and you need to make new ones. So therefore, you need to continue this cycle of digging things up out of the earth. So there is really no such thing as green technology and green energy. There is just kicking the can down the road. Because you still need to dig the things up out of the earth to build the stuff. And even to produce a solar panel, what do you need to do? Well, you need to burn fuels in order to produce that solar panel. It's all these things that people never take into account. This is what I find really amusing is the idea of green cars being good for the environment. The actual best thing for the environment would be if we just shut down the car industry and just said, look, all the cars on Earth right now, they'll be the only cars ever on Earth. That's the best way of doing it. It's not to build new green cars because you have to dig up all of this lithium out of the earth. And then you have to dig up all of these metals. And God knows what kind of bad processes go on in these kind of industries because they're all in third world countries whereby they don't have money, they don't have laws, they don't have like employee protection. So on the whole, yeah, basically, there's no such thing as green energy. So that's why switching to proof of stake, in my opinion, is a good thing because you cannot criticize something that is consuming a significantly smaller portion of energy than what it used to consume and still serving the exact same purpose. So I got a little bit distracted there from the point of the question. I don't actually remember what the question was, but yeah, that was some information
Yeah,
about
that's
green
fine.
energy and why it's all a complete lie.
We'll move on to the next article then. We've got breaking: Caroline Ellison and Gary Wang plead guilty to fraud charges. I've actually just seen a tweet from BitBoy about this, saying this is going to be part of their plea deal if they have the charges in place. Potentially, it's being an ongoing battle where BitBoy is trying to expose everything that's going on in here. Let's take a look at this, though. Former Alameda Research CEO Caroline Ellison and FTX co-founder Gary Wang has pleaded guilty to federal fraud charges and are cooperating in the Justice Department's investigation of the former FTX CEO Sam Bankman-Fried. U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York, Damian Williams, made the announcement on December the 22nd, emphasizing that this latest major development is unlikely to be the last. He said, "As I said last week, this investigation is ongoing and moving very quickly. I also said last week's announcement would not be our last, and let me be clear once again, neither is today's." He's announcing that the two of them are in connection with their roles in the fraud that contributed to FTX's collapse. Both Ms. Ellison and Mr. Wang have pleaded guilty to those charges, and both are cooperating with the SDNY. Williams also confirmed that SBF is now in custody of the Federal Bureau of Investigation and is on his way back to the United States, where he will be transported directly to the Southern District of New York to appear before a judge as soon as possible. Now, it's just really nice to see some repercussions in the space after we've seen a load of bad news. William also used the statement to send a stark warning to anyone that may have participated in misconduct at FTX or Alameda. Now's the time to get ahead of it. We are moving quickly and our patience is not eternal. In a separate action, the United States SEC said that it charged Ellison and Wang for their roles in a multi-year scheme to defraud equity investors in FTX, adding that it is also investigating other security law violations into other entities and persons relating to the misconduct as well. So this is positive news that we're seeing here. We also saw in yesterday's live stream that they were trying to get any donations they'd invest politicians back, and they were going to stop paying interest to people that weren't paying those donations back already, trying to claw together as much of user funds as possible to reimburse those users. And it's just so much more positive than we've seen historically. In the past, we've seen months before this action is taken, and now we're actually seeing it happen pretty quickly. So it's looking much better. What do you think about this?
I think that everything that's going on with FTX is a very interesting because clearly these political donations he's made have been pretty good value for money so far. But also, interestingly enough, all of the political donations that Sam made to the Democratic Party, not to the Republican Party, but the Democratic Party has pledged to return. So you're talking about a return there of about $40 million to users of FTX that will then go into a pool of funds that will get sucked up by lawyers. And then by the time that money gets distributed to the users, maybe there'll be like 50p in it. But essentially, this is what sucks about bankruptcy processes is the longer it goes on, the more money it costs in terms of legal fees. And these lawyers, they circle around it like vultures because they see this massive pile of cash that will be in. Because although FTX is bankrupt, they're only bankrupt because basically, say they've got $10 billion of liabilities and they only have $700 million of assets. Well, there's still $700 million of assets there. It's just that would mean that if that money was distributed to all the users, it's pretty simple. Everybody would get £70 per £1,000 that they would have in the exchange. Instead, what will happen is you have maybe $100 million of lawyers' fees. And then various other fees that will come on top. And before you know it, maybe there's only a 500 million fund to distribute to the users. And I say this genuinely seriously because this is exactly what happened with Mt. Gox. Mt. Gox, the legal fees in Mt. Gox take up, I believe it's about half of the actual funds that are left in Mt. Gox that are meant to distribute to users because that process has been going on now for 8 years, something like this, 9 years, 10 years, to 2013. So 9 years, if I remember correctly. So we're going on 9 years now. It's a really long time to to pay lawyers consistently. There's a guy called Stephen Cornelia on YouTube who's been getting sued by this guy called Mr. Moneyberg, who basically he's been in this legal case now for 18 months. Just one guy against another guy in a defamation case, and it's cost him $210,000. $210,000 for 18 months of a one-on-one case. This FTX stuff is not a one-on-one case. It's a like a 50 on 5 million people case. So it's like you can imagine how fast these legal costs amplify, and there is a lot of money to be made there from a legal aspect. So you will see that basically by the time that the funds get distributed, there will be significantly less because it will cost a fortune to sort all of this mess out. But it will be very interesting to see what happens with all of these donations and charitable contributions. FTX has requested that all charities that they donated to return funds, and all because basically they were donating users' funds to charities that they didn't have permission to do. So it's a really difficult situation. If you're, for example, Make a Wish, like I had on the live stream yesterday, if you're Make a Wish and you've received a $50 million contribution from FTX, but you've already spent 25 million of it, but you've already pledged another 20 million of it in a kind of various different things to children to make them happy before they perish. It would be most, I mean, there's no, I can't really phrase that in a way that it's a very sad charity is Make a Wish. But essentially, if you're in that kind of situation as a charity, do you return the funds? Do you keep the I say you keep the funds. I don't think you would return the funds. But there are so many instances like this whereby, I mean, look at the artwork that Sam bought. Sam spent hundreds of millions of dollars on artwork. That Sam spent hundreds of millions of dollars on properties for random people, by the way. Just not like FTX employees, just like random people that he's mates with. Oh, yeah, just have a £10 million house. Why not? All these users they're all idiots. They keep depositing their money onto my exchange. Let's just keep spending it. Yeah, that sounds good. I don't really understand why he made all these very strange decisions. I suppose drug induced will be probably one of the arguments that he makes, but um, I don't know. I get the feeling that the guy's going to prison for a very long time, which is sad because he did come across really, really well in the bull run. He came across a nice guy, but if you're gonna go out and steal $10 billion of users' deposits and then take loans on top of that and then leverage it, you are playing with fire, and you should understand the risks of doing that, unfortunately. So, yeah, again, I forgot the question, but I made a point.
No, that's great. I think I agree. Yeah, it's a huge issue, and there's going to be more news coming out. But it's funny how he's gone from being such a popular man in the bull market, everyone thinking he was incredible for all the arbitrage trading he'd done and things like that, and now he's seen as the worst person in crypto. It's been such a flip. But the more transparency we have in the space, the better for all centralized exchanges.
I suppose for somebody like us, it makes it really interesting, being that you've got Bernie Madoff on the screen there. We were not really around when the whole Bernie Madoff thing was happening. When Bernie Madoff was happening, I would have been like 12 years old or something, and you would have been like, what, 4? I don't know, but I actually don't know how old you would have been. But the point is, when Bernie Madoff was happening during the financial crash, it we never saw any of that. We didn't really see the fallout from that. This is our new Bernie Madoff, and people before loved Bernie Madoff, just like they loved Sam Bankman-Fried. But now people don't love Bernie Madoff, and now people don't love Sam Bankman-Fried. It's very interesting, especially these photos. Like, I'm going to tweet these photos out in just a few minutes' time after this live stream. But really interesting stuff.
Closing off this live stream now, really, we've gone through all of the news. We'll take a quick look back at Bitcoin, but I don't expect it to have moved because it's not moved in days. We're still at 16,840. We do these live streams every single day, Monday to Friday. So if you have enjoyed this, please make sure to like and subscribe, and go over to our Twitter and follow us there as well, and you can get updated for whenever we are going to do these live streams. Any last comments off you, Jordan?
What's the app? What's the app for Twitter? Where should people go?
At Crypto Saving Exp, I believe.
EXP. Yeah.
Throw it up on the screen.
Yeah, Crypto Saving EXP. That's where you've got to go. Go give it a follow on Twitter. The website for Crypto Saving Expo will be going live in January. I'm excited. If you look at my live stream from yesterday, there's some sneak previews of stuff. It was not the intention.
You showed off the whole site.
No, I didn't. I left 2 sections out. It was a sneak, but it's good. Give them a sneak. It's good though, because we need. It's good what we've built. I mean, I have a mug here on my desk that's got Crypto Saving Expert on it. Yeah, so we made some. Yeah, see, you got one as well. It's been a fun journey building this so far, and you should all enjoy it when it goes live. Because honestly, if you're looking to kind of increase your financial education, if you're looking to increase the amount of money you can possibly earn from cryptocurrency, the best way to do that is with education. Why did I do very well? Well, because before I even invested a penny in cryptocurrency, I spent like years I lied there actually. I bought Bitcoin, and then I started investing very heavily in my education after I'd bought Bitcoin, and then for like 2 years nonstop, just learning, and then I applied that learning knowledge, and I got wrecked. But then I learned from getting wrecked, and the second time round, I didn't get wrecked. So there is a whole learning process. So if you've been in cryptocurrency for a long time and you've been wrecked once, you're in a very good position now to not be wrecked the second time. Being that we're at the bottom of the market, look how many people are watching this live stream right now. I can't see it, but I bet it's less than 100. And this live stream will probably get in total maybe 500 views, something like this. During the bull market, we'll see live streams like this getting 25,000, 30,000 views. That's just how it is. But people that are around right now are in an amazing position to make the right decisions that will power them through the next phase of the bull run. You are in before everybody else because everybody else left, but they will rejoin at some point. It's inevitable. It always happens. And you have people that go, "Oh yeah, it's going to last for 3, 4, 5 years." Is this bear? No, don't be stupid. These projects, one of the key things that tells you when the next bull market is going to come around is, well, there's two key things. You've got, first of all, Bitcoin halving. Bitcoin halving is coming in around 454 days from now. So you've got 1.5 years essentially before Bitcoin halving. And the next one would be you have, how long do projects have left in the coffers? Like, how much money do they have before they really need to start pushing out their product and making sure that people start using it? And then you've got to start applying marketing budgets. And when you start seeing projects doing marketing, when you start seeing those marketing budgets applied, and when you start seeing the average, like, you see a lot of dormancy in projects right now. Those projects are not like gone, they're not stopped. That's why I always say, look, send them a message, get in contact with the CEO, see if it's legit, because you may stumble across some gems. And I do the same thing when I'm researching. I have myself and a few other people, we just message projects, we get in contact with founders, we find out what's going on right now with that project, how well funded it is, what kind of their run times are. We get honest opinions and honest answers from these people, which then gives us the ability to make a very much more informed decision about whether something is worth investing in for the next 12 months. Because if you're going to invest in a project right now, from a speculative point of view, in any altcoin, there's a utility coin. The idea or the purpose behind a utility coin is that that coin is to be used for its utility. It's not there for speculation. But if you are to speculate on these things, essentially that would mean that you're going to speculate that the adoption of that application is going to increase over the next 12-month period also. So if you can see that certain applications are going to grow, and you think the demand for that coin is going to increase, that's where your speculative value is, and that's where the money is made, essentially. So that's what really a crypto saving expert, that's what we look for. It's what I look for personally. Again, we're not just some altcoin researching thing. We are like a whole different, that's just one of the things that we do. But from my perspective, yeah, I think the market's in an amazing place right now for people that are just joining. If you've been here a while, sorry about that. But you'll get through it. I'm sure you will. I mean, I have to get through it anyway. It's not like I can just dip out. So yeah, that's all from me.
Brilliant. Well, we will come back tomorrow at 11 a.m. and it will just be me tomorrow, I assume, but we'll have Jordan on more often. So make sure to keep checking in with us and follow the live stream so you can stay up to date with the latest cryptocurrency news. And that is all. Thank you very much for watching. Goodbye.
Ciao, 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 ciao.